Hello, everyone. Welcome to the session of Plant Kingdom Theory Part 1. That is the section 3.1. And in this section, we are going to cover up about the algae. Disclaimer. So, key study resources for we are adhere to the NCERT book for the primary source, right? And for the reference book, you can go to the Sathi forum and you can look about what are the different reference book that you can refer. High yield topics carrying 4 to 6 marks. That is algae. The first topic is algae. In this, we will study about the characteristic and the economic importance. So these two are very, very important part from the algae portion. Bryophytes. Bryophytes are having the amphibious nature, right? And they are restricted to certain habitats. So this is the very, very important point from this particular section. Pteridophytes. General characteristics of the pteridophytes and also the economic importance of them. So this is the main part of the pteridophytes. And gymnosperm, the general characteristics as well as their economic importance. Smart study approach. So if we have to master the NCERT, right, then we have to practice MCQs regularly, focus on the previous year's question, right? Like we have to solve the PYQs, solve NCERT exemplar question, regular revision of the important concept. It is not just you read one times your book, either you are referring the NCERT or any other reference book. There should be a continuous revision. 80 to 90% question directly coming from the NCERT. So we have to master our concept, right? On the algae, bryophytes, pteridophyte, gymnosperm and angiosperm from this particular chapter. So this is the, if we have to crack the NEET examination, right, then we have to follow such competitive strategy. Learning objective, to understand the factors that affect the classification system. Second, to understand the classification of organism of the kingdom Plantae based on their certain characteristics. To understand the criteria used to classify organisms into division algae. And to understand the different classes like red, green, brown algae based on their certain characteristics. To understand the usefulness of algae to the human with examples. So that is, they're talking about economic importance, right? So these are the learning objective from this particular section, means today's lecture. Index, we will have an introduction part. Then we will study about the algae. And this algae is having the 3 different types, chlorophyceae, phaeophyceae and rhodophyceae. Then there will be the summary of today's lecture. Then there will be some NCERT based questions. There will be a keynote and think over questions or some interesting questions. So, introduction part. Biological classification chapter. We have read about the biological classification chapter, right? So there was a classification that was given by the Whittaker in 1969, right? Whittaker gave the classification system in which whole organism has been categorized into 5 kingdom. And that is why Whittaker classification was famously known as 5 kingdom classification, right? And what are the 5 different kingdom that are present in this classification system? Number 1, Monera. Monera means all the unicellular prokaryotic organism comes under the Monera. Protista, all unicellular Eukaryotic organism comes under the protista. Fungi, a very different category, right? In this, we study about the different types of fungi. These are, you can say, organisms that do not possesses chlorophyll. They do not possesses chlorophyll. They do have a cell wall, but that is made up of very different polysaccharide, that is chitin, right? Animalia and Plantae, the two main category, right? So totally we are having the 5 different kingdoms. Now in this chapter, we are studying plant kingdom, right? So in this chapter, we will deal in detail with the further classification of plant kingdom. So here you can see the last one, Plantae. In the Whitaker classification, the last one was the kingdom Plantae. So in kingdom Plantae, we will study the different, like what are the different types of plants. And this kingdom Plantae is popular known as plant kingdom, the same name that we got to our chapter. Fungi and the members of Monera and Protista have cell walls and have now been excluded from Plantae, right? So earlier, this fungi was in plant kingdom, but now it has been excluded from the plant. But in earlier classification, there were some other classification system, right? So this was placed along with the kingdom Plantae, right? Cyanobacteria, that are also referred to as blue-green algae. They are not algae anymore. In earlier classification, they were kept with the algae, but actually they are moneras. They are prokaryotic cell in nature, right? So if we talk about the basic category, or you can say the basic thing about the classification in the Whitaker classification system, then they firstly tried to classify the organism on the prokaryotic and eukaryotic basis, right? So Monera are having the prokaryotic cell, and this cyanobacteria is again the prokaryotic cell. So it cannot be kept with the algae that are eukaryotic, right? So in later classification system, right? So this was followed and cyanobacteria was taken out from the, like along with the algae, and was placed in Monera. In this chapter, we will deal with algae, bryophytes, pteridophyte, gymnosperm, angiosperm under Plantae, right? So under Plantae, what we are going to study about? We are going to study about algae, bryophytes, pteridophyte, gymnosperm and angiosperm. Some earlier approach of classification. So there were some earlier approach of classification, right? So let us put some light on that. The earlier system of classification used only gross, superficial morphological characters. Like the scientists that were classifying the organism, they were just taking the characteristic like morphological characteristics, okay? Such as habitat, in which habitat the organism is found. They are more concerned about the color, number, shape, and leaves. These are morphological characters, okay? And that get changed in the different environment. See, they were based mainly on the vegetative characters or on the androecium structure. This system was given by Carolus Linnaeus. So these were not a very, very important characters, but the classification was based on this only. So this approach of classification was not accepted in the coming future. So such systems were artificial. They are separated the closely related species since they were based on a few characters, right? So the closely related species that should be together, they were placed far away in the classification. So this was not a right approach, right? And that is why this system of classification was called as artificial system of classification. Artificial. Remember, in the artificial system of classification, only superficial morphological characters has been taken in account for the classification of organism. Some examples are given. The morphological characters that were followed, like they were concerned about the habit, they were concerned about the color, number, shape of leaf. These are very superficial characters. These are not very important characters, right? Artificial system gave equal weightage to the vegetative and sexual characteristics. Now you all know that vegetative characteristic and the sexual characteristics are very much different. So we cannot give equal weightage to them. You all know that sexual characteristic is more important because it leads to the evolution. New characteristic comes out of it. But with the vegetative reproduction, right? There is no new characters will develop, right? So we cannot give the equal weightage to the vegetative and sexual characteristics. And in the artificial system, this was one of the drawback. We can say that this is one of the drawback of the artificial system of classification. It was not acceptable as a vegetative character are more easily affected by the environment. Why we can say that? The first line says that this is the artificial system and we cannot give equal weightage. Why? Because vegetative characters get changed by the change of the environment, right? So we cannot give them equal weightage. Now comes, like, if you discard any classification system, then you have to come up with the new approach, right? So here comes the next classification system, that is called as natural classification system. And that was developed, which were based on, let us see that, natural affinities among the organism. Affinities, how the organism are closely related. That is called affinities. Second point, internal features like ultrastructure, anatomy, embryology, and phytochemistry. They are not only concerned for the morphological characters. Now they are looking inside the cells. They are looking about the anatomy of plants, embryology, behavior, phytochemistry, right? So these are some internal things. Now they are looking for that. These characteristics they are taking in account so that they can go for the best classification system. So this closely related species should be together, placed together. They should not be kept far away, right? As we have seen in the case of artificial system of classification. So this classification for flowering plant was given by George Bentham and Joseph Dalton Hooker. Phytochemistry is very, very important here. Phytochemistry means chemistry of plants. Actually, it should be the biochemistry, right? But the biochemistry means you are studying the chemistry of the plants, right? So that is the phytochemistry. Phyto means plant. Now, at present, phylogenetic classification system based on evolutionary relationship between the various organisms are acceptable. But nowadays, we are one step ahead. We are not only looking for the natural system, but we are also looking for we are concerned for the evolutionary relationship. Very, very important point. Evolutionary relationship, right? So that when you concerned for this in your classification system, you take this point in an account that you are looking for the evolutionary relationship among the organism, then you are following the phylogenetic classification system, right? In the animal kingdom, we have read all the phylum. We have seen that one phylum, second phylum, third. And one thing you must have noticed that the phylum sequence, the sequence of phylum, why the Cnidarians were kept after Porifera? Because Cnidarian developed after Porifera. Why Ctenophora was placed after Cnidarians? Because Ctenophora developed after Cnidarians, right? So this shows the phylogenetic classification system. So this assumes that organisms belong to the same taxa, have common ancestor. Same taxa. You must be knowing about the taxa. Species, genus, family, class, order. All these are the taxa. So the organism which are placed in same like genus, Panthera tigris, Panthera leo. The both are having the same genus. So these are closely related to each other. They are close relatives of it, right? So this is the things that is mentioned here. So we now use information from many other sources to help resolve difficulties in classification. So these become more important when there is no supporting fossil evidence. So if the fossil evidence is there, then that is a very good thing. Like you can go for the phylogenetic classification system, but in the absence of fossils, there is a challenge. There is a challenge. So nowadays we are having the numerical taxonomy. We are also following the numerical taxonomy, which is now easily carried out using the computers. Okay. The data is there. The data related to the numbers. And that data is fed in the computers. And these are the observable character. You can observe it in the organism, in the plants. The number and codes are assigned to all the characters and the data are then processed. So on this way, each character is given equal importance at the same time. Hundreds of characters can be considered. So now you can see here that they are considering 100 of characters because they are not concerned for the morphological character. They are looking for the anatomy, biochemistry, right? Cytology. They are also concerned for the numerical taxonomy, number of chromosomes, number of pollen grains, number of stamens, right? All these things that come up with the numbers, the characteristic that comes up with the numbers. So they are concerned in this for the numerical taxonomy. Not only this, cytotaxonomy. In this, you are concerned for the chromosome number, structure, behavior of the chromosome. All these things you consider for the classification. Chemotaxonomy. Chemotaxonomy means what are the chemical constituents that are present in the plant specific. There are some chemicals that are present specifically to some of the plants, right? So that are also become the basis of classification. So for the classification, we are considering those characteristics also. Like now you can see how many different, like in the like Bentham and Hooker classification was a very like a past approach, but nowadays we are having so many different branches of science, right? So according to that, we are concerning all those branches for our classification of organisms. Now we will study about algae. So general characteristic of algae, first of all. Algae are the chlorophyll bearing, simple, thyroid, autotrophic and largely aquatic, both freshwater and marine water organism, right? Algae are chlorophyll, means they are having the chlorophyll in that green color pigment. They are very simple plant, thyroid. Thyroid means the plant is not divisible into root, stem and leaves like structure. It is ribbon-like. Thyroid means ribbon-like structure. You will not see any leaf-like structure or root-like structure or stem-like structure in the algae, right? Autotrophic, they can perform the process of photosynthesis. They can make their own food. Largely aquatic. And they are found in both the type of aquatic ecosystem. Freshwater, it means no salt dissolve in it. Marine water. sea and ocean, right? They occur in variety of other habitat. Moist stone, you can see the algae growing on the moist stone, sometime on the soil also, and sometime on the wood, right? Some of them also occur on the association with the fungi. Lichen. Lichen is a mutualism phenomena showing organism. Mutualism. What is mutualism? Algae and fungi comes together and they form a body structure, a type of plant. But in that particular plant, both the component algae and fungi are living together. So here you can see the algae is found as a lichen also. And they can grow on some animal's body also, like on sloth bear. Sloth bear is a very lazy type of bear. Hmm? It's a very lazy type of bear. So sometimes they get wet and the spores of the algae are there and they grow on its body only, right? The form and the size of algae is highly variable, ranging from the colonial form. We are having the algae in the form of colony. Example is volvox. Now, algae is also present in the form of filaments. Filaments, you can see this is the volvox figure, volvox. And this is the filament figure, that is the Eulothrix and Spirogyra. Okay. A few of the marine forms such as kelp form the massive plant body. Kelps, when you go to the sea and see the kelp, they are 10 to 15 meter. Even sometimes they are 100 meters long, right? The algae reproduce by vegetative, asexual and sexual methods. Vegetative methods, sometimes the algae plants are like the thallus structure get broken by the water current or any other factor. So both those the broken pieces of the thallus behaves like a new individual, right? There is a asexual method in which they produces asexual spores, and there is a sexual method also. Vegetative reproduction is by the fragmentation process. I've told you, like Spirogyra. Sometimes the Spirogyra thread-like structure get broken and each piece will behave like a new individual. So that is the fragmentation process. Now each fragment develops into a thallus, a new thallus. Asexual reproduction is by the production of different types of spores. In algae, there is a formation of different types of spores. Very, very important point. And these are asexual spores. Means only one plant body is involved in making of the spores. And commonly these spores are called as zoospores. Why they are called as zoospores? So the spores you all know. What is the spores? But the zoo word is coming here. The zoo is for animal. And animal is for locomotion. They move from one place to another place. So these spores are having flagella. They are having flagella. And they can move from one place to another. So here you can see zoospore. These are the spore-like structure and you can see these are the flagella. So these are called as zoospore. This is one type of asexual spores. One type of asexual spores. But there are so many type of. But in your NCERT, it is confined to just one type of asexual spore that is called as zoospore. And this structure is called zoosporangia. Zoosporangia, right? A structure in which the zoospores are placed. And when this zoosporangia rupture, all the zoospores are released in the water. Zoospores are flagellated. Flagellated means they are having flagella and that is why they are motile. And on germination, they gave rise to new plants. Sexual reproduction takes place by the fusion of two gametes. In the case of sexual reproduction, there is one male gamete and one female gamete, right? So these gametes can be flagellated and similar in size. Flagellated and similar in size, as we see in the case of Eulothrix. This line is very important. Gametes can be flagellated and similar in size. In which example you see this? Eulothrix. Non-flagellated. Sometimes the spores are non-flagellated, that is non-motile. But similar size, as we see in the case of Spirogyra. So this line is very, very important. You must learn this line. Such reproduction is called as isogamous. Isogamous. So see this figure. There is isogamy. You can see this is the plus and this is minus. It is somewhat like male and female only. And you can see both the gametes, male and female or plus or minus, are of totally same type. And that is why it is called as isogamy. Isogamy. Now here you can see in the case of anisogamy, one is morphologically distinct, means you can see it is larger. One is female is larger and male is smaller, right? So this is called anisogamy type. And the last one, oogamy. There is non-motile female gamete that is called as egg, and there is a male gamete that is motile. So this is called as oogamy, right? So this is very, very important. Now, fusion of two gametes dissimilar in size. If the gametes are dissimilar in size, as in the species of Eudorhina. So you have to learn this name, Eudorhina. This is the name of the algae in which we see an isogamous type of reproduction, sexual reproduction. Or you can say the fusion of gametes, right? Dissimilar in size. Fusion between one large non-motile static means that is non-motile female gamete and a smaller motile male gamete, and that is called as oogamous type of reproduction. And this oogamous type of reproduction we see in the case of volvox that makes a colony like thallus, right? And fucus. So this oogamous, this is the oogamous, one non-motile, large in size, static, and one male is motile. And here in the first one, the two gamete dissimilar in size. You can see the size. One is larger and another is smaller. So this is the anisogamous we see in the case of Eudorhina. Now, economic importance of algae. Algae are very, very important to us. Algae are useful to man in variety of ways. Half of the total carbon dioxide fixation on the earth is carried out by the algae through the process of photosynthesis, because in the seas and ocean, 75% of our globe is covered with the water, right? And in that water, which organism are there? Algae, right? So half of the total carbon dioxide is taken from the atmosphere and it is fixed by the process of photosynthesis. Being photosynthetic, they increases the level of dissolved oxygen, right? So in the case of this ocean, they produces oxygen as a byproduct by the process of photosynthesis. So that oxygen get dissolved in the water, and that becomes the basis to support so many animals that live in the oceans and sea, because they take that oxygen. So now you can understand how algae are important to other organisms. They are providing not only the food material but also oxygen, right? They form the basis of food cycle of all aquatic animals. Now you can understand, because they live in the seas and ocean, they do the process of photosynthesis and produces oxygen as a byproduct gas. And that gas dissolved in water, and it is available to all the aquatic animals that are living in the seas and oceans. Many species of Porphyra, Laminaria, and Sargassum are among the 70 species of marine algae used as food. So these are some of the algae that are used as food: Porphyra, Laminaria, and Sargassum. Certain marine and the brown red algae produces large amount of hydrocolloid, water holding substances. Now we required some of the substances that can hold the water. Like, so one of the example that is called as algin. This algin is a hydrocolloid. Okay, this algin is a hydrocolloid and we get from the brown algae, Phaeophyceae. Carrageenan. Carrageenan is we get from the red algae, which are used commercially. This is again the hydrocolloid. So we are having the two things as a hydrocolloid. One is the algin that you get from the brown algae, and another is a carrageenan that you get from the red algae or the rhodophyceae. Agar, very, very important. Agar, one of the commercial product obtained from the Gelidium and Gracilaria. This Gelidium and Gracilaria is again belong to the Rhodophyceae, red algae. So what this agar is used, now you can see, you must have seen in the laboratory that there are the petri dish in which the microbes are grown. So that nutrient medium become jelly-like substances. The nutrient medium are jelly. It is not a liquid, it is semi-solid. So how that liquid becomes semi-solid? Because of this agar. So that is why it is written here. They are used to grow microbes, right? And this agar, when it is used in the preparation of ice cream and jellies, your ice cream and jelly become jelly-like, gel-like. Okay. So it is used in making the food preparations. Chlorella, very, very important. Chlorella is a unicellular alga and it is rich in proteins, right? So space travelers take this chlorella as a food supplements. Here you can see this is the unicellular, this is the chlorella, and this chlorella is available in the form of tablets. And this is having a lot of proteins in that. So that is why the space travelers take them with when they are going to travel in the space. Types of algae. Now the algae that we are going to study about today, that are three different types: Chlorophyceae, Phaeophyceae, Rhodophyceae, depending on the type of pigment they have. So the first one, Chlorophyceae. Members of Chlorophyceae are commonly called as green algae. They are commonly known as green algae. Why? Because they appear green in color. And why they appear green in color? We will see that the type of pigment they possess. If you see their plant or this body of the Chlorophyceae, they can be unicellular, they can be colonial, they can be filamentous. And they are usually grass green due to the dominant pigment chlorophyll A and B. So why they are green in color? Because they possesses the two very important pigment A and B, right? The pigments are localized in the definite chloroplast. Where this chlorophyll is present? Chlorophyll is present in the chloroplast. So here, the two very important green algae, Volvox and Eulothrix, you can see the figure. This is the colonial form and this is the filamentous form. The chloroplast may be of following types in the different species. So there are many species in the Chlorophyceae, right? So this chloroplast can be of different types. What are their types? They can be discoid shape. The shape of chloroplast. We are looking for the shape of chloroplast. It is discoid. It can be plate-like. It can be reticulate. It can be cup-shaped, spiral or ribbon-shaped. So most of the members have one or more storage bodies called pyrenoids located in the chloroplast. Inside the chloroplast only. This is very important point. Where the pyrenoids are located, they are located inside the chloroplast, and these are the storage bodies. What they store? What these pyrannoids store? They contain protein beside starch. It means that they store starch as well as protein, right? These pyrannoids are present in the chloroplast and they store both carbohydrate as well as the protein, because starch is a type of carbohydrate. Some algae may store food in the form of oil droplets also. So here you can see cup-shaped. In the Chlamydomonas, we are having this chloroplast. You can see this is the cup-shaped. Discoid shape, very different shape, discoid. Reticulate, and spiral. So different shape of chloroplast we see in the case of chlorophyce. Green algae usually have rigid cell wall. Now they are talking about the cell wall of the algae. Rigid cell wall. It is made up of inner layer of cellulose. They are having inner layer of cellulose and outer layer made up of pactose. Very important. Because it varies from type of algae. In the case of rhodophyce, you will see another thing, right? So that is why it is important. Sometimes it can be asked in the examination. The cell wall of chlorophyce, inner layer made up of cellulose and outer layer made up of pactose. Vegetative reproduction here taken by the fragmentation, right? And the different types of spores. Asexual reproduction, that is takes by the zoospores produced in the zoosporangia. This we have already seen. This is the zoosporangia in which you can see the zoospores are formed, right? So this is the asexual method. Chlamydomonas is shifted to the protista, but when you will see the volvox one cell, this is the colony now. The volvox cell look like single chlamydomonas, right? Single chlamydomonas, and all those chlamydomonas like cells are combined and form a colony like this. So in that also you can see they are having the cup-shaped chloroplast. Sexual reproduction show the considerable variation in the type of formation of sex cells, and it may be, let us see that. Isogamous type. We have discussed about this. Isogamous type, anisogamous type, and oogamous type, right? So some commonly found green algae. Let us see what are the different green algae. Chlamydomonas, this is the example. Volvox, Ulothrix, Pyrogyra, and Chara. So this is the thing I was talking about. These are the single cell, green color, dotted. Okay. This is the Volvox. So if you see the cell Chlamydomonas, it look like that only. The members of Phaeophyce or the brown algae are found primarily in the marine habitats, right? The members of the Phaeophyce. Now we are talking about the brown algae. They are found primarily in the marine habitats. So very less numbers are reported in the freshwater. Mostly they are found in the marine habitats. They show great variation in size and form. Okay. They range from the simple branched filamentous form ectocarpus to profusely branched form. So we can see a lot of branching in the case of brown algae. Simple branch, you can see the filamentous form. Okay. Filamentous form. Ectocarpus is there to profusely branched form. Chlamydomonas belongs to the algae only. Okay, it belongs to the algae. It doesn't belong to the protista, because if you see the other characteristics like the cell wall structure, the cell, the type of chloroplast they possesses, say that is all belongs, because if you see the chlorella, it is again the unicellular. It is again unicellular, but it belongs to the chlorophyce only, algae, right? They range from simple branch, they can be filamentous, they can be profusely branched, highly branched structure. Kelps are the giant algae. When you go deep in the sea, you can see that they are having the giant algae. They can be 100 meters, they can be 100 meters long. So those are called as kelps. And these kelps, so you can see the brown algae, Laminaria, fucus, and dictyota. These are the examples of the brown algae. Now, see the pigment in the chlorophyce, they are having A and B chlorophyll, but here they possesses A and C and some other accessory pigments. They are named as carotenoids and xanthophylls, but the main chlorophyll pigments are chlorophyll A and C. They vary in color from olive green to various shades of brown. Now, the question should be there. Though they have chlorophyll A and C, but why they look brown in color? Why they look brown in color? So the brown pigment depends upon the amount of xanthophyll and fucoxanthin pigment, because they are having a brown color pigment that is called as fucoxanthin, and this fucoxanthin is so much present that it masks the color that is imparted by chlorophyll A and C. Means the green color that is imparted by chlorophyll A and C is masked by fucoxanthin pigment, and that is why this phaeophyce appear brown in color. Brown. It doesn't mean that they are not having green pigment. They are having green pigment, but still they impart brown in color because this fucoxanthin is present in large amount and it masks the color of the chlorophyll, right? A and C. Food is stored in the complex carbohydrate. So this is a complex carbohydrate named as laminarin and mannitol. Laminarin and mannitol. The vegetative cell have the cellulosic wall and usually covered by outside by the gelatinous coating of algine. Now here you can see the cell wall. The cell wall of chlorophyce, the inner layer is made up of cellulose and outer layer is made up of pectin substances. But what about the phaeophyce? Here they are having the cellulosic wall, but there is a coating of gelatinous substance that is called as algin on the cell wall. And that algin is used as a hydrocolloid commercially. So from where this algin has been taken out, now you can understand from their cell wall. The protoplast contain the additional to the plastid, a centrally located vacuole and nucleus. The plant body is usually attached to the substratum. This is very, very important point regarding the brown algae phaeophyce. If you see the structure, hold fast. At the down, you can see the hold fast. Hold fast is that part of the brown algae that get attached to the substratum. Any rock surface, seabed, okay? So hold fast is the plant of the body that get attached to the substratum. There is a stalk-like structure. You can see the stalk-like structure that is called as stipe. It is called as stipe. And leaf-like photosynthetic organ. You can see this is the leaf-like photosynthetic organ that is called as frond. Frond. So it means the brown algae, though they appear brown in color, but they do the process of photosynthetic, because it is written here, photosynthetic organ, the frond. And what are the pigments they possesses? A and C. It means brown algae also do the process of photosynthesis. Don't think that they are brown in color, so they cannot do the process of photosynthesis. They do the process of photosynthesis, right? Phaeophyce again. Some more important points. Vegetative reproduction take place by the fragmentation. So you all know fragmentation. The body, the thallus structure can be broken into pieces and each piece can behave like a new individual. Asexual reproduction. That is by the biflagellated zoospores that appear pear in shape. Zoospores again, asexual spores, they have two unequal lateral attached flagella. And sexual reproduction is again by the isogamous, anisogamous and oogamous type. This we have already discussed previously. Union of gametes take place in water within the oogonium, oogamous species. Oogamous species. And the gametes are pyriform, pear in shape, bear two lateral attached flagella. Examples of Phaeophyce: Ectocarpus, Dictyota, Laminaria, Sargassum and Fucus. So here are some of the members: brown algae, Laminaria. The first one is the Laminaria, second is the Fucus, and third is the Dictyota. Rhodophyce means red algae. Members are commonly called as red algae because their thallus imparts red in color. Predominance red pigment are phycoerythrin in their body. This is the pigment, like fucoxanthin we have seen in the brown algae, here are phycoerythrin. Majority of red algae are marine and greater concentration found in the warmer areas. Means the ocean that are having the warm water, there the red algae are more fine. They are more confined to those particular area. So these are the two examples, Porphyra and Polysiphonia. This is the hallod-like structure, and this you can see they are having a lot of branches. One main branch and there are many lateral branches. But such type of branch structure you cannot see in the case of Porphyra. They occur in both well-lighted region and close to the surface of water. They are also found at the great depth in ocean where relatively little light penetrates. So they are present in both the areas where the light is sufficiently present, and in those areas also where some light only penetrate in the deep sea. So their thalli are mostly red algae. They are multicellular. Some of the red algae have complex body organization. Food is stored in the Floridian starch, which is very similar to the amylopectin and glycogen in structure. So this is the type of food material they store. Okay, this is very important. You must remember the type of food is stored in the three different types of algae: Chlorophyce, Phaeophyce and Rhodophyce. For Rhodophyce, it is amylopectin and glycogen, that is a glycogen-like structure. Red algae usually reproduced by the vegetatively by the fragmentation process. So fragmentation process is common in all the three different types of algae, right? That is the vegetative mode of reproduction. They reproduce asexually by non-motile spores and sexually by non-motile gametes. So here we are not having any motile gametes, non-motile gametes. Sexual reproduction is oogamous and accompanied by the complex post-fertilization development. So there is a very complex step that takes place after the fertilization process that we do not see in the case of Chlorophyce and Phaeophyce. In this respect, the red algae is different. Common examples: Polysiphonia, Porphyra, Gracilaria and Gelidium. This we have already discussed. For the economic importance, we got agar from this, right? So the two examples are here, Porphyra and Polysiphonia. Now, divisions of algae and their main characteristics. So here are the division: Chlorophyce, Phaeophyce, Rhodophyce. Common name: Chlorophyce known as green algae, Phaeophyce brown algae, Rhodophyce red algae. Now, the type of pigment here you can see. In Chlorophyce, we are having A and B chlorophyll. In Phaeophyce, A and C. And one more pigment, fucoxanthin, that impart brown color, right? Rhodophyce, A and D. So here you can see A, B, A, C, A, D. right? So this you must remember. A is there, B, C, D. In this way you can remember B, C, D, right? A is common in all the three, but B, C, D is the next type of chlorophyll. Phycoerythrin, red color pigment. And due to this pigment, the algae look red in color. Now you can see the stored food material. Here it is simple starch. And here mannitol and laminarin. And here the Floridian starch, right? The other difference is cell wall. Cell wall is made up of cellulose and pectose, right? Cellulose and algin in the case of brown algae. Cellulose, pectin and other polysulfate esters in the case of red algae. Flagellar number and position interaction 2 to 8 equal and apical, 2 unequal lateral. And this is very important. Red algae are not having any motile gamete or motile spores. Very, very important. And many times the question has been asked on this particular point, right? Rhodophyce is not having any motile gamete or motile spores. Habitat in which they are found: fresh water, brackish water, salt water. Fresh water, that is rare. Okay, some are reported, but that is rare. They are found in brackish water mostly and salt water. Fresh water, only some are reported. Brackish water, salt water, and salt water mostly they are found. Now we are having the summary of today's lecture, and we will have our DPP also today. Chlorophyce, Phaeophyce, Rhodophyce represent the major classes of algae, and you can distinguish them on the basis of pigment, majorly on the basis of pigment. But there are some other characteristics just now we have seen in the table. Chlorophyce or green algae possesses chlorophyll A and B, resulting in the green coloration. Phaeophyce, brown algae, contain fucoxanthin along with the A and C pigment, and that is the characteristic of the brown algae. Or brown U means color. Rhodophyce or the red algae are the characterized by the phycoerythrin, that is the red pigment, a part of A and D type of chlorophyll. These pigment difference reflect adaptation to the varying light environments in the aquatic habitat. Now, some NCERT based question, very simple questions. Let us see that. What is the ecological importance of algae? Question can be asked in the examination. Ecological importance of algae. We have studied a lot of ecological importance today. Let us see the answer. Primary producer. Algae are the crucial primary producer in the aquatic ecosystem, forming the base of marine and freshwater food webs. Oxygen production, 50 to 70% of Earth's atmospheric oxygen is coming from the ocean only, because in ocean marine algae are there. Agar. Agar is extracted from the red algae, that is Gelidium and Gracilaria, and that is used in making cakes and jellies. Carrageenan, extracted from the red seaweed, mainly chondrus, and used for thickening and stabilizing the agent in food. Spirulina as a space food, used by the space travelers as food supplement, as provide high protein content, 60 to 70%. That could also be considered like hydrocolloid, only not these 5, but you can add some other also. How many types of sexual reproduction found in algae? Sexual reproduction. Let us see the answer. In algae, 3 different types of sexual reproduction are found: isogamy, anisogamy, and oogamy. Isogamy, morphological and physiologically similar type of gametes are there. Anisogamy, morphologically different but physiological similar gametes. Oogamy, fusion of morphologically and physiologically different gametes. Egg, female gamete is non-motile, and sperm, that is male gamete, is motile. Some keynotes. Chlorophyceae green algae contain chlorophyll A and B accessory pigments like carotenoids. Phaeophyceae, they contain fucoxanthin. You must remember this fucoxanthin as a brown pigment and they possesses chlorophyll A and C. Brown algae possesses holdfast for their attachment, that is with the substratum. They are having this type, stem-like structure. Stem-like structure, it is not a true stem, remember. Frond, again, leaf-like structure, it is not a true leaf. Rhodophyceae, red algae, they contain chlorophyll a unique red pigment that is called as phycobilenes. And in the phycobilenes, that is phycoerythrin and phycocyanin. These are the two phycobilenes. Okay. Fucoxanthin is a brown color pigment. Brown color pigment that imparts brown color to the algae. Like we are having the green color pigment, chlorophyll, that impart green color. Similarly, they are having the brown color pigment. And that brown color pigment is imparted by the fucoxanthin pigment. That is the name of the pigment. And some generally found algae, green algae common, you must remember Chlamydomonas, Volvox, Eulothrix, Pyrogyra and Chara. Brown algae are Ectocarpus, Dictyota, Laminaria, Sargassum and Fucus. Red algae are Polysiphonia, Porphyra, Gracilaria and so these are some think over question. You must think about it. Differentiate red and brown algae on the basis of pigment they possess. Next question. Name the algae that provide carrageenan and algin. Name the algae. You have to specifically give the name of algae. And third question. What is the role of algae in lichens? Algae in lichens, right? So this is all about today's session.